Ready or not, here we come. Ah! We're back! Don't know for how long we'll be back, but we're back for now. Whew. We're both nervous and excited to be back again. Nervous excited? Nervous excited. Yes. Anyways. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. And, you know, we just wanted to make sure that we went through with this, you know? Regardless of whether or not we were ready. We spent a lot of our prep time making a magic deck. Uh, there's no real plan for tonight. Just talking and chatting and just trying to get used to streaming again. Just getting used to talking to nothing again. Da, 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 da. What have we been up to in the past half a year, apparently? Well, we've got into philosophy. Well, more into philosophy. We've always been into philosophy, but, you know, we've gotten deeper into it, you know? Just learning this and that. And we hate the philosophy of determinism, but that's not here nor there. Okay, maybe hate is a strong word. We hate stoicism. Determinism just makes us angry, you know? Just very concept of it. Look it up in your own time. As long as you're as long as you're well prepared for an existential crisis. Oh, we've also been trying to learn Japanese. Yes. You'd think in oh a few hundred years of traveling around the multiverse you would pick up on a few languages, and we have. Most of which aren't even human languages. They're languages like Gatsada. Yeah. Gatsada. Are we pronouncing it right? Whatever. Uh, hello. Sorry. Just had to say it again. Uh, we're going to be testing out the audio mixing. We're not sure if we're too loud or too quiet. Okay. Think, yeah, our voice is louder than the backing noise, but we haven't checked to see if the backing noise is louder than we are. Or, no, that's not what we. Shit. Okay. No, what we mean to say is we're not sure if our voice is drowning out the background noises, which are a bit loud in our ears. Like, like we've also had trouble with our laptop recently. Uh, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, lots of trouble. Big trouble. Uh-oh. Sorry, something stuck to the outside of the laptop. Ooh, ooh, ooh. If we mess with the screen too much, the computer crashes. You think being a super genius would be able to fix it. We're honestly too scared to do tasks without wasting a lot of data. Besides, we don't have the supplies for it in our current situation. We're hoping we can get it fixed up one day. A new one would be nice, of course, but, you know, we got attached to this one, for obvious reasons. In other news, our microphone is not working properly because we can't find the actual cable for it. We had another one that we thought would work, but it doesn't. It allows the LED lights on it to work, but not the actual microphone part. So that's fun. So there it is, just sitting uselessly right over there as we use the laptop's built-in microphone, which is not nearly as good. Okay. And thankfully, we managed to check. We checked to see if we should not have been looking at the current viewers. We knew there would be 0. Uh, we made sure to check to see if the microphone was connected to our wireless headphones because we know laptops like to connect to the headphones microphone, even though that one is usually within our budget anyways. Horrible. Like the worst. Like alien speak. No, not like alien speak. Alien speak's understandable. But funny I did. Anyways, you know, it's like speaking through static, like, you know? Sorry if we get quiet at points. It's been a few months. You seem to have gotten back into the groove for the most part, but, you know, obviously it's hard. Oof. It's cold out here, you know? We're managing to keep warm overall, but it's a bit chilly tonight. So, yeah. Uh, we're still working on a fanfic. We're also working on our alternate history. We don't know where to take the alternate history right now. Like, we have a lot of points ahead of time to get to, but yeah, it's gonna take a bit longer. We just need to work on one more section, then we can publish our next chapter of that. We just don't know what to do for that section, is all. And, next up. Oh, we have a fanfiction chapter we need to finish too. You can check out both of these projects in the description. Uh, sorry, our eyes aren't focusing right. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Okay. Good, 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 good. Alright, alright, alright. Perfect, 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 perfect. There we go. Okay, it's not perfect, perfect, but you know, it's close to perfect. Thank you. Ah! Did you hear that noise? That was our, that was our neck. That was especially loud. I think being immortal would mean that you don't have any aches and pains, but no, no. You think you want an itch too, but you do, you do. Sorry, this coming across is way more passive aggressive. Yeah. Again, sorry about the long break. We've just been having a rough go at it, right? Uh, lost touch with some friends. One stopped talking with us, had to cut off the other. Related incident, by the way. Happens very shortly after we announce our hiatus. One day, one day, our dreams will come true, but until then, we're just going to be here. We don't know how often we stream on this point. We're hoping that at some point we start going at it daily, which we should have been doing from the beginning. Daily streams in our position now is quite difficult. It's already difficult enough. You've been dealing with a lot of executive dysfunction issues lately. A large part of it is probably related to your mental health. It just keeps you from doing things you want to do. You know, I'll do it later, sort of thing. Anyways, Soul Ireland, a friend of ours, a friend of ours took us to see it. It was great, actually. We really liked it, enjoyed it. Don't know why it's so low on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like at 60% last I checked. And it'll probably grow once more people review it. Sorry. Again, it's been a little while, you know? You just have to work on getting back in the groove for it. Of it. Of it. Groove of it. Damn it. Words. Words, words, words. Honor. What is in this word, honor? Air. Hope our drinking water ASMR is good for you. Don't like drinking the water around here. We don't have any of our normal water filters and stuff, so we think the water has a negative effect on our mental health, which probably sounds crazy because, well, it likely is. So, hey, well, either way, we're crazy. And we're proud of that craziness. But, doesn't mean that our mental health overall is great. I mean, we're all crazy anyways. We're just crazier than most. Ah, we're not sure what to do to make this entertaining. How do we make this thing to be entertaining? Oh, one thing we've been getting into lately. A new project we started. It's nothing major, but it's a small project we started. See, excuse me. We need a playlist of Dylan songs. We started it, the other day? And already we got over 200 songs in there. We listened to a lot of Dylan songs. Oh, we also got into Hell of a Boss. Uh, Hell of a Boss, sorry. Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel. Mostly Has Been Hotel, but also Hell of a Boss. Uh, yeah, we got into those two shows, and they're good. They're pretty good. Don't get why people hate them. Like, it's not the best. They're not the best shows of all time or anything, but they're pretty good. They have a lot of good emotional moments, made us cry a few times. That's a hallmark of a good movie or show. If it can make you cry intentionally. There's a lot of great songs in it. So, a lot of great villain songs in that, so you know we're into that. like I said, we're making a whole playlist of it. Uh, we tried to make sure it felt about as dissonant and whiplash-ish that we speak. Uh, we're hoping it causes a bunch of genre whiplash going from one song to another. There's songs from VTubers, metal songs, rock operas, musicals, animated films, just, just a whole lot of different things. Ah, sorry, brain is up, you know, you know how the brain is, when it's especially when, you know, you've been gone for a while and you aren't as used to talking to a screen anymore. You know you want to be used to that, and you want to do good. Good enough, at least. That's not even the point. Anyways, uh, our brain is just going off in a million directions right now, and we don't know which path to follow. So we have to narrow in on one, you know? Have to narrow in on a path, go through it, talk about it. You know, we just have to make it, right? We have to pull through. I want that, and I want that. Uh, about us, about us learning Japanese. The way we've been doing it is that is sorry, it's just a bit silly to say. Apparently, the best way to learn Japanese is through an immersion method, and this is true for any language apparently. So, what you do instead of using an instead of using a universal translator or having it beam directly into your head like I'm used to, sorry, like what I'm used to, yeah, yeah, yeah. Instead of all that, or what you would have to do for then with a romantic language, which is just learn certain phrases and suddenly you speak the language. No, that's not how it works. That may work for Romanized. That may work for romantic languages like French, Spanish, English, but it doesn't work for Japanese since the underlying framework is so vast. So what you do is immersion. This means you consume a lot of Japanese media and you have a lot of conversation in Japanese. We don't have a lot of people we know who can speak Japanese, so we're out of luck on that. So we just end up watching a lot of VTubers, which makes sense. You know, we're a VTuber, makes sense we'd watch VTubers in our off time. Hmm. Ooh, sorry, we're moving around because we're spinning, I guess. Sorry, we're a little out of it. Now you may be thinking, oh, if you're not ready to do something, why do it? Because if not now, when? Especially with our executive function just not working a lot of the time. If we don't do it as soon as possible, when are we gonna do it? You know? You know, oh, I'll do it later is the bane of our existence because it's a thought we think a lot and then just like we immediately go no, but then we do it anyways. Yeah. Oh, just after this thing, and then we forget about it completely. Like, we wanted to write some of our fanfic today. We managed to get our theme ready, which was good, but we wanted to write our fanfic, but we just ended up working on a pauper commander deck. Uh, for those of you who don't know Magic the Gathering, there are two formats in Magic. Uh, one is pauper, which only allows cards with use of common rarities, and the other is Commander, which is 100 cards singleton, meaning only one copy of each card that isn't a basic land or whatever. And you get one special legendary creature in the command zone that you can cast from outside the game, like it's a free card. And you can build around your commander if you like. Pauper Commander is a combination of the two. So it's all commons, it's 100 cards singleton, but instead of just any legendary creature, you can do any uncommon creature. Ah, ah. That's any creature printed at an uncommon rarity. Doesn't have to be legendary. Uh, so we spent all day building a Pauper Commander deck centered around the card Leaping Willow, which is the new one from Glorwyn Eclipse, which is such a magical set. We got a friend together the day it released, and well, we can't afford to draft actually, and our friend is, an online one, not an in-person one. But we managed to use Draftmancer to do a pre-release. Uh, Pre-release is exciting when it's in person, turns out, because just doing a pre-release, opening a packs and putting 6 packs into a comprehensive deck is is extremely difficult. It was especially difficult for them because they aren't just used to Magic and they like to take their time. They are a very limited minded person, of course. We love them to bits. Uh, so yeah, they tend to go towards a limited as a format. Not as much of a fan as the other one, of the other format. Blah, blah, blah. Uh, so yeah, that's been, that's been nice. That's been genuinely nice. We should ask them to play again sometime. It's been a month. Uh, anyways, we're not sure if this bubbling sound is coming or not. And we're not sure when we'll be streaming again. Like seriously, we're not really sure where to go from here. We want to stream more often, we do, but times have been tough lately. They've been tough on our mental health, not going to lie. They've been tough on us financially. It's mostly mental health, honestly. Like physical needs, even in the times they're hard to come by, they're not impossible to come by. Mental needs are a lot harder. We just haven't been able to meet up with as many friends as we'd like, you know? We haven't visited our friends in a month or so. Uh, they gave us some money for a few nights in a hotel, though, so that was nice of them. It was nice to sleep in bed again, I think. I Another altar was there. I wasn't. I was all stick to this egg. This, yeah, yeah. Sorry for the silence again. We're trying not to be too quiet too long, especially in a stream where we aren't even playing a video game or anything like that. Uh, we could read something. Let's just read some Poe. Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe. Let's see. What's what are some good? What's a good story? The Poe Museum. So what we thinking non-existent chat? Yep, 000. All goose eggs, gang. Plus, seven the coffee. We're sorry. Uh, we're going to read the Edgar Allan Poe story that is titled, literally titled, Diddling, considered as one of the exact sciences. Oh, we're gonna turn the bubbling down for this. Ahem. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and oh, thank the gods. Since the world began, there have been two Jeremys. The one wrote a Jeremiad about Usyk, was called Jeremy Bentham. He has been much admired by Mr. John Neal, and was a great man in a small way. The other gave names to the most important of the exact sciences, and was a great man in a great way. I may say indeed, in the very greatest of ways. Diddling, or the abstract idea conveyed by the verb to diddle, is sufficiently well understood. Well, flat. Yet the fact, the deed, the thing diddling is somewhat difficult to define. Oh, we think it's very difficult to define nowadays. We may get, however, at a tolerably distinct conception of the matter in hand by defining, not the thing, diddling in itself, but man, as an animal that diddles. Where are you going with this, Edgar? Had Plato but hit upon this, he would have been spared the affront of the picked chicken. Very pertinently, it was demanded of Plato, why a picked chicken, which was clearly a biped without feathers, was not, according to his own definition, a man. But I am not to be bothered by any similar query. Man is an animal that diddles, and there is no animal that diddles but man. It will take an entire hen coop of picked chickens to get over that. This is unreal. What constitutes the essence, the nair, the principle of diddling is, in fact, peculiar to the class of creatures that wear coats and pantaloons. A crow thieves, a fox cheats, a weasel outwits, a man diddles. To diddle is his destiny. Man was made to mourn, says the poet, but not so he was made to diddle. This is his aim, his object, his end. And for this reason, when a man's diddled, we say he's done. Yeah, we sure do say he's done once he's diddled. Diddling, rightly considered, is a compound of which the ingredients are minuteness, interest, perseverance, ingenuity, audacity, nonchalance, originality, impertinence, and grin. Minuteness. Your diddler is minute. His operations are upon a small scale. His business is retail for cash or approved paper at sight. Should he ever be tempted into magnificent speculation, he then at once loses his distinctive features and becomes what we term financier. The latter word conveys the diddling idea in every respect except that of magnitude. A diddler may thus be regarded as a banker in petto, a financial operation, as a diddle at broad zigzag. What are we reading? The one is to the other as Homer, to Bacchus as a mastodon, to a mouse as the tail of its comet, to that of a pig. Interest. Your diddler is guided by self-interest. He scorns the diddle for the mere sake of the diddle. He has an object in view. His pocket in yours. He regards always the main chance. He looks to number one. You are number two and must look to yourself. Perseverance. Your diddler perseveres. He is not readily discouraged. He, should even the banks break, he cares nothing about it. He steadily pursues his end, and ut canis accorio nunquam abstaripitur uncto. So he never lets go of his game. Ingenuity. Your diddler is ingenious. He has constructiveness large. He understands plot. He invents and circumvents. Were he not Alexander, he would be Diogenes. Were he not a diddler, he would be a maker of patent rat traps or an angler for trout. Audacity! Your diddler is audacious. He is a bold man. He carries the war into Africa. No. He conquers all by assault. Uh-oh. He would not fear the daggers of brave Heron. This brave Heron. With a little more prudence, Dick Turpin would have made a good diddler, would he now? With a trifle less blarney, Daniel O'Connell, with a pound or two more brains, Charles the Twelfth. Nonchalance. Your diddler is nonchalanted. He is not at all nervous. He never had any nerves. He is never seduced into a flurry. He is never put out, unless put out of doors. He is cool, cool as a cucumber. Wow, that phrase is that old? It's as old as is as old as Edgar Allan Poe? Wow. Wow. He is calm. Calm as a smile from Lady Bury. That's in quotes. Calm as a smile from Lady Bury. That's okay. He is easy. Easy as an old club, or the damsels of ancient that what does that symbol mean again? I don't want to suppress some human language other than English. Whatever. Originality. Your diddler is original. Conscientiously so. His thoughts are his own. He would scorn to employ those of another. A stale trick is his aversion. He would return a purse, I am sure, upon discovering that he had obtained it by an unoriginal diddle. Okay. Impertinence. Your diddler is impertinent. He swaggers. He sets his arm akimbo. He thrusts his hands in his trousers pockets. He sneers in your face. He treads on your cords. He eats your dinner. He drinks your wine. He rolls your money. He pulls your nose. He kicks your poodle. And he kisses your wife. He dies? No, but are we just gonna wait around and let it happen? Grin. Your true diddler winds up all with a grin. But this nobody sees but himself. He grins when his daily work is done, when his allotted labors are accomplished, at night in his own closet, and altogether for his own private entertainment. He goes home, he locks his door, he divests himself of his clothes, he puts out his candle, he gets into bed, he places his head upon the pillow. All this done, and your diddler grins. This is no hypothesis. It is a matter of course, a reason a priori, and a diddle would be no diddle without a grin. The origin of the diddle is referable to the infancy of the human race. Perhaps the first diddler was Adam. At all events, we can trace the science back to a very remote period of antiquity. The moderns, however, have brought it to a perfection never dreamed of by our thick-headed progenitors. Without pausing to speak of the old saws, therefore, I shall content myself with a compendious account of some of the more modern instances. Okay, okay, before we read on, what does Edgar Allan Poe mean by a diddle? What has changed in a, 180 years or so? A very good diddle is this. A housekeeper in want of a sofa, for instance, is seen to go in and out of several cabinet warehouses. At the length, she arrives at one offering an excellent variety. She is accosted and invited to enter by a polite and voluble individual at the door. At the door. There. She finds a sofa well adapted to her views, and upon inquiring the price, is surprised and delighted to hear a sum named at least 20%, lower than her expectations. There's a typo on the website. The L isn't capitalized, there's a period after the sentence of the comma. He hastens to make the purchase, gets a bill and receipt, leaves her address, will request that the article be sent home as speedily as possible, and retires amid a profusion of bows from the shopkeeper. The night arrives and no sofa. The next day passes and still none. A servant is sent to make inquiry about the delay. The whole transaction is denied. No sofa has been sold, no money received, except by the diddler, who played shopkeeper for the nonce. A con artist? Our cabinet warehouses are left entirely unattended, and thus afford every facility for a trick of this kind. Visitors, is that spelled right? We're going to assume the off to remember author for nearly 200 years is correct about the spelling of the word visitors. With an E, look at furniture in the parts unheeded and unseen. Should anyone wish to purchase or to inquire the price of an article, a bill is at hand, and it is considered amply, amply sufficient. Again, quite a respectable diddle is this. A well-dressed individual enters the shop, makes a purchase at the value of $1, finds, much to his vexation, that he has left his pocketbook in another coat pocket, and so says to the shopkeeper, "My dear sir, never mind, just oblige me, will you, by sending the bundle home? But stay, I really believe that I have nothing less than a $5 bill. Even there. However, you can send $4 in change with the bundle, you know." "Very good, sir," replied the shopkeeper, who entertains at once a lofty opinion of the high-mindedness of his customers. "I know fellows," he says to himself, "who would just have put the goods under their arms, and walked off with a promise to call and pay the dollar as they came by in the afternoon." A boy is sent with the parcel and change. On the route, quite accidentally, he is met by the purchaser, who exclaims, "Ah, this is my bundle, I see. I thought you had been home with it long ago. Well, go on. My wife, Mrs. Trotter, will give you the $5. I left instructions with her to that effect. The change you might as well give to me. I want some silver for the post office. Very good. 1, 2, 7, 3/4, 3, 4. Quite right. Say to Mrs. Trotter that you met me, and be sure now and do not loiter on the way." The boy doesn't loiter at all, but he is a very long time getting back on his errand, for no lady of the precise name of Mrs. Trotter is to be discovered. He consoles himself, however, that he has not been such a fool as to leave the goods without the money, and re-entering the shop with a self-satisfied air, feels sensibly hurt and indignant when his master asks him what has become of the change. A very simple diddle, indeed, is this. The captain of a ship, which is about to sail, is presented by an official-looking person with an unusually moderate bill of city charges. Glad to get off so easily and confused by 100 duties pressing upon him all at once, he discharges the claim forthwith. In about 15 minutes, another and less reasonable bill is handed him by one who soon makes it evident that the first collector was a diddler, and the original collection a diddle. The evolution of human language has not been kind to Edgar Allan Poe's essay here. Also, we have one viewer now. Hello, hi. Yeah, how are you doing? We're reading Edgar Allan Poe's uh, infamous work, Diddling Considered as one of the exact sciences. And diddle here apparently means con artistry. Anyways, and here too is a somewhat similar thing. A steamboat is casting loose from the wharf. A traveler, portmanteau in hand, is discovered running towards the wharf at full speed. Suddenly, he makes a dead halt, stoops, and picks up something from the ground in a very agitated manner. It is a pocketbook, and has any gentleman lost the pocketbook? He cries. No one can say that he has exactly lost the pocketbook, but a great excitement ensues when the treasure trove is found to be of value. The boat, however, must not be detained. Time and tide wait for no man, says the captain. For God's sake, stay only a few minutes, says the finder of the book. The true claimant will presently appear. Can't wait, replies the man in authority. Cast up there, do you hear? What am I to do? Asked the finder in great tribulation. I am about to leave the country for some years, and I cannot consciously retain this large amount in my possession. I beg your pardon, sir. Here he addresses the gentleman on shore. But you have the air of an honest man. Will you confer me upon the favor of taking charge of this pocketbook? I know I can trust you. And of advertising it, the notes you see amount to a very considerable sum. The owner will no doubt assist upon rewarding you for your trouble. Me? No, you! It was you who found the book. Oh, you must have it so. I will take a small reward just to satisfy your scruples. Let me see. Why, these notes are all hundreds, plus my soul. 100 is too much to take. 50 would be quite enough, I am sure. Cast off there, says the captain. But then I have no change for 100, and upon the whole, you had better. Cast off there, says the captain. Never mind, cries the gentleman on shore, who has been examining his own pocketbook for the last minute or so. Never mind, I can fix it. Here's a 50 on the Bank of North America. Throw me the book. The over-contentious finder takes the 50 with marked reluctance and throws the gentleman the book, as desired, while the steamboat fumes and fisses on her way. In about half an hour after her departure, the large amount is seen to be a counterfeit presentment, and the whole thing a capital diddle. A bold diddle is this. The evolution of English language. No, Edgar Allan Poe, you don't understand what the internet will do to that word. Well, we don't think it was the internet, really. Well, anyways, a bold diddle is this. A camp meeting, or something similar, is to be held at a certain spot, which is accessible only by means of a free bridge. A diddler stations himself upon this bridge, respectfully informs all passers-by of the new county law, which establishes a toll of 1 cent for foot passengers, 2 for horses and donkeys, and so forth and so forth. Some grumble, but all submit, and the diddler goes home a wealthier man by some $50 or $60 well earned. This taking a toll from a great crowd of people is an excessively troublesome thing. A neat diddle is this. A friend holds one of the diddler's promises to pay, filled up and signed in due form upon the ordinary blanks printed in red ink. The diddler purchased 1 or 2 dozen of these blanks, and every day dips one of them in his soup, makes his dog jump for it, and finally gives it to him as a bonnet pooch. The note arriving at maturity, the diddler, with the diddler's dog, calls upon the friend, and the promise to pay is made the topic of discussion. The friend produces it from his escritoire, escritoire, and is in fact, and is in the act of reaching it to the diddler when he jumps the dog's diddler and devours it forthwith. The diddler is not only surprised, but vexed and incensed at the observed behavior of his dog, and expresses his entire readiness to cancel the obligation at any moment when the evidence of the obligation shall be forthcoming. Give us a moment. We need to drink. We're reading a lot about diddling. All this talk of diddling is apparently making us thirsty. Was not a sentence we were expecting to say in response to an Edgar Allan Poe story. Also, we're pretty sure this is satire. A very minute diddle is this. A lady is insulted in the street by a diddler's accomplice. The diddler himself flies to her assistance, and, giving his friend a comfortable thrashing, insists upon attending the lady to her own door. He bows, puts his hand upon his heart, and most respectfully bids her adieu. She entreats him, as her deliverer, to walk in and be introduced to her big brother and her papa. With a sigh, he declines to do so. "There is no way, then, sir," she murmurs, "in which I may be permitted to testify my gratitude?" "Why, yes, madam, there is. Would you be kind enough to lend me a couple of shillings?" In the first excitement of the moment, the lady decides upon fainting outright. Upon second thoughts, however, she opens her purse strings and delivers a specie. Specie. We're not gonna worry about that word. Now this, I say, is a diddle minute. For one entire moiety, moiety, moiety? Who used the word moiety? If they used it a lot back then, of the sum borrowed as to be paid to the gentleman who had the trouble of performing the insult, and who had then to stand still and be thrashed for performing. Rather small, but still a scientific diddle is this. The whole point of this is that being a con artist is an exact science, according to Edgar Allan Poe. This is the opinion of one of the most renowned authors in the English language. It's probably just satire. The diddler approaches the bar of a tavern and demands a couple of spliffs of tobacco. These are handed to him. When, having slightly examined them, he says, "I don't much like this tobacco. Here, take it back and give me a glass of brandy and water in its place." The brandy and water is furnished and imbibed, furnished and imbibed, and the diddler makes his way to the door. But the voice of the tavern keeper arrests him. "I believe, sir, you have forgotten to pay for your brandy and water." "Pay for my brandy and water? Didn't I give you the tobacco for the brandy and water? What more would you have?" "But, sir, if you please, I don't remember that you paid me for the tobacco." "What do you mean by that, you scoundrel? Then I give you back your tobacco." "Isn't that your tobacco lying there? Do you expect me to pay for what I did not take?" "But, sir," says the publican, now rather at a loss what to say. "But, sir—" "But me no but, sir," interrupts the fiddler, apparently in very high dudgeon, and slamming the door after him, and he makes his escape. "But me no but, sir, and none of your tricks upon travellers." Here is Here again is a very clever diddle. This is getting very repetitive, of which the simplicity is not its least recommendation. A purse or pocketbook being really lost, the loser inserts in one of the daily papers of a large city a fully descriptive advertisement, whereupon our diddler copies the facts of this advertisement with a change of heading, a general phraseology, and address. The original, for instance, is long and verbose, is headed "A Pocketbook Lost," and requires the treasure, when found, to be left at number 1 Town Street. The copy is brief, and being headed with "Lost Only," indicates number 2 Vic or number 3 Harry Street, as the locality at which the owner may be seen. Moreover, it is inserted there at least 5 or 6 days of the daily papers of the day, while in point of time it makes its appearance only a few hours after the original. Should it be read by the loser of the purse, he would hardly suspect it to have any reference to his own misfortune. But, of course, the chances are 5 to 6 to 1 that the finder will repair to the address given by the diddler, rather than that to point it to Bleh, 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 sigh. Let's start testing again, rather than to that pointed out by the rightful proprietor. The former pays the reward, pockets the treasure, and decamps. More, more diddle. No, we're sick of diddling. Edgar, please. Edgar, please. Enough with the diddles. Quite an analogous diddle is this. No! A lady of ton has dropped somewhere in the street a diamond ring of very unusual value. For its recovery, she offers some $40 or $50 reward, giving, in her advertisement, a very minute description of the gem, and of its settings, and declaring that, upon its restoration at number so-and-so, in which and such avenue, the reward should be paid instanter, without a single question being asked. During the lady's absence from home, a day or two afterwards, a ring is heard at the door of number so-and-so, in such and such avenue. A servant appears. The lady of the house is asked for and is declared to be out, at which astounding information the visitor expresses the most poignant regret. His business is of importance and concerns the lady herself. In fact, he had the good fortune to find her diamond ring. But perhaps it would be as well that he should call again. By no means, said the servant. By no means, says the lady's sister and the lady's sister-in-law, who are summoned forthwith. The ring is clamorously identified, the reward is paid, and the finder nearly thrust out of doors. The lady returns and expresses some little dissatisfaction with her sister and sister-in-law because they happen to have paid $40 or $50 for a facsimile of her diamond ring, a facsimile made out of real pinchbeck and unquestionable paste. But as there is really no end to diddling, so there would be none to this essay, were I even to hint at half the variations or inflections of which this science is susceptible. Thank the gods. Plural. I must bring this paper, perforce, to a conclusion, and this I cannot do better than by a summary notice of a very decent but rather elaborate diddle, of which our own city was made the theatre, not very long ago, and which was subsequently repeated with success in other still more verdant localities of the Union. A middle-aged gentleman arrives in town from parts unknown. He is remarkably precise, cautious, staid, and deliberate in his demeanor. His dress is scrupulously neat, excuse us, but plain, unostentatious. He wears a white cravat, an ample waistcoat, made with an eye to comforts alone, thick-soled, cozy-looking shoes, and pantaloons without straps. He has the whole air, in fact, of a well-to-do, sober-sided, exact, and respectable man of business, par excellence. Once a stern and outwardly hard, internally soft sort of people that we see in the crack high comedies. The crack high comedies? That creates a mental image. Fellows whose worth are so many bonds and who are noted for giving away guineas in charity with the one hand, while in the way of a mere bargain they exact the uttermost fraction of a farthing with the other. He makes much ado before he can get suited with a boarding house. He dislikes children. He has been accustomed to quiet. His habits are methodical. And then he would prefer getting into a private and respectable small family, piously inclined. Terms, however, are no object. Only he must insist upon settling his bill on the first of every month. It is now the second, and begs his landlady, when he finally obtains one to his mind, not on any account to forget his instructions upon this point, but to send in a bill and receipt precisely at 10 o'clock on the first day of every month, and under no circumstances to put it off to the second. Bleh. Put it off to the second. Okay. These arrangements made, our man of business rents an office in a reputable rather than a fashionable quarter of the town. There is nothing he more despises than pretense. Where there is much show, he says, there is seldom anything very solid behind. An observation which so profoundly impresses his landlady's fancy that she makes a pencil memorandum memorandum of its forthwith in our great family Bible on the broad margins of the prophets of on the on the broad margin of the Proverbs of Solomon. Sorry, apparently we're so pagan that representing the Bible makes us unable to speak. The next step is to advertise. After some such fashion as this, in the principal business 6 pennies of the city, the pennies are as skewed as not respectable, and as demanding payments for all advertisements in advance. Our man of business holds it as a point of his faith that work should never be paid for until done. Wanted, the advertisers, being about to commence extensive business operations in this city, will require the services of 3 or 4 intelligent and competent clerks, to whom a liberal salary will be paid. The very best recommendations, not so much for capacity as for integrity, will be expected. Indeed, as the duty to be performed involves high responsibilities, large amounts of money must necessarily pass through the hands of those engaged. It is deemed advisable to demand a deposit of $50 from each clerk employed. No person need apply, therefore, who is not prepared to leave this sum in the possession of the advertisers, and who cannot furnish the most satisfactory testimonials of morality. Young gentlemen piously inclined will be preferred. Application should be made between the hours of 10 and 11 a.m. and 4 and 5 p.m. Messrs. We're assuming that's a shortened version of something because it's missing an E or O or any other vowel. Dogs, and Co. Number 110 Dog Street. What do we say, chat? Do you want to go to 110 Dog Street? You visit Blogs, and Frogs Co. No, Frogs and Co. Sorry. By the 31st day of the month, this advertisement was brought to the office of Messrs. Frogs, and Company, some 15 or 20 young gentlemen piously inclined. But our man of business is in no hurry to conclude a contract with any. No man of business is ever precipitate, and it is not under the most rigid, what's that word, catechism, in respect to the piety of each young gentleman's inclination, that his services are engaged and $50 receipted for, just by way of proper precaution on the part of the respectable firm of Frogs, and Company. On the morning of the first day of the next month, the landlady does not present her bill according to promise. If the neglect for which the comfortable head of the house ending in Oggs would no doubt have chided her severely, could he have been prevailed upon to remain in town a day or two for that purpose. As it is, the constables have had a sad time of it, running hither and thither, and all they can do is declare the man of business most empathetically and all they can do is declare the man of business most emphatic, emphatically, a hen knee-high, by which some persons imagine them to imply that, in fact, he is NEI, by which, again, very classical friend, non est inventus, is supposed to be understood. In the meantime, the young gentlemen, one and all, are somewhat less piously inclined than before, while the landlady purchases a shilling's worth of the best Indian rubber, and very carefully obliterates the pencil memorandum that some fool has made in her great family Bible on the broad margin of the prophets of the home. Originally published in 1843, that's what we thought the year was exactly. We did not say that out loud, so we can't be impressive about it. Damn it! Oh, God. So that's the end of that story. We wanted to read something good, spooky and gothic, but, no, apparently. Apparently, we just had to read about the arts of doing. about how diddling is an exact science. That was one of the most well-known English writers, not lighters. Why did we say we have not streamed in a hot minute? Ay, 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 ay. He's just cold. Glad we at least have one viewer just steering through this. That was a story. Next time we'll read an actual, you know, a Grand Poe style story, which, the kind famous, he's kind of famous for. We'll read Mask of the Red Death. We already have it lined up. We don't feel like reading more tonight. We've already made a bit of a fool of ourselves. We wonder if we can, like, scratch up enough money to get a fiber editor to, like, make a video of our reading of that. Hope so. Because we have a bunch of other creative projects alongside streaming we hope to do more often. So we don't want to start editing a whole video, but that feels like something for the highlights reel. We can't believe that happened. Diddling as an exact science by Edgar Allan Poe. It just got more and more wild as it went on. Well, it does take a lot of skill and effort to be a con artist, we suppose. We're definitely not one of those. In fact, we're so trustworthy that we have a lovely bit of beachside property to sell all of you. All you have to do is send $10 million to the Cash App or something. Don't actually do that. Yeah. Uh, I think we're already getting back into the swing of streaming. Hope so, anyways. That gave us something to talk about, at least. Sheesh. And nothing so depressing either. Uh, don't think we'll be streaming for too much longer, but we're gonna stream for. We're gonna keep streaming for a bit. Sorry, I was just checking something. When we were in middle school, you know what we did instead of, you know, having social interactions? Reading comic adaptations of Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe. That was a voice crack. I haven't had one of those in a good while. Then again, we've been talking non-stop for an hour. Gonna drink some more. Gonna drink some more water. Oh, pardon us. So, was that a while? No, we certainly think it was. Like, we were expecting some nice, wholesome gothic horror, and instead, we got an essay about the scientific genius of, well, con artistry. But you don't realize that until the examples are given. So it's just so for half of the essay, you're just going. Edgar, what are you talking about tickling? Edgar? Edgar, what are you doing? Edgar? It's good to be back, actually. We do ironically feel a lot better after streaming. We definitely want to do this more often. We're, ho we're hoping eventually we'll get it to where we're streaming once a day. Yeah, imagine that. I don't know what to talk about now. Hmm. Uh, we could try to sing something. Don't think that we have the proper setup for karaoke, but we could, like, try and sing something a cappella. Used to, we hated our singing voice. Nowadays, we're just like, it had better be good. We have worked so hard on it that it had better be good. Let's see. What's something we could sing? Just without much thought or effort behind it. That isn't like A, B, C, D, F, G, or something simple like that. Uh, let's think. Well, earlier we were talking about how we made a whole playlist of villain songs. Over 200 songs. So we're just gonna look through that. Actually, that might make, yeah, that'll make some good conversation starters. Nope, that's not the right tab. Please load so we can pause you and not get our video copyright struck. Please make me pause. Thank you. Uh, let's see. Last song we were listening to was from the playlist, specifically, not the last song we listened to, period. But it was Hamilton's You'll Be Back. Interesting little villain song. It's in it's especially interesting since it says you'll be back. And, you know, that prophecy has yet to become false, especially now, considering that America is now at such a low point that we're just like, Britain, please take us back. Britain, please, please. Wait, never mind, you also stuck. France, France, take us. Nope, you too? Monaco. Monaco. We're probably pronouncing that name wrong. It's like African country. Monaco, we think it's called. At least that's what I think the Romanized name is. Or the English name of the country is. Not like the African's name is. Heyo. We live in a capitalist nightmare. Sorry, that's way too serious. That's way too serious. Now, let's see, what's another good song we put on the playlist? When You're Evil by Voltaire, of course. And it's so easy when you're evil. This is the life you give the devil. Give tips his hat to me. I do it all because I'm evil. And I do it all for free. Your tears are all the pay I'll ever need. Dun, dun, dun. When the devil is too busy, and that's a bit too much. They call me by name, you see, for my special touch. To the gentlemen, I'm misfortune. To the ladies, I'm surprise. But call me by any name. Anyway, it's all the same. Now we have to remember how the verses go. I'm the fly in your soup. I'm the pebble in your shoe. I'm the... Okay. And it's so easy when you're evil. This is the likely play of the devil. Tips his hat to me. I do it all because I'm evil. And I do it all for free. Your tears are all the pay I'll ever need. Dun, dun, dun. Despite the fact that we included that song and many other blatantly evil songs, we do have a different philosophy regarding villainy. We've mentioned it before, but, we haven't streamed in a few months, so we might as well relay it. Especially since whoever the concurrent viewer is, we don't know who they are. They might be a person who has never heard this before. So here goes. In our view, the difference between hero and villain is not good and evil. We know that's not the popular version of the terms, mainly because it's the ones we come up with ourselves. But we're hoping to get it catch on like a house on fire, you know? So the idea is that heroes protect the status quo. They preserve what's there, regardless of whether it's good or not. Well, not regardless. Obviously, Superman is a good person. We don't think Batman is one, but, you know, he's definitely a hero. But, well, we still think he is a rich person who dresses up as a bat to beat up mentally ill homeless people. Well, not homeless people, but poor people. Actually, a lot of them are homeless. Like, their secret hideouts are all abandoned places. The villains' hideouts are all abandoned places. Yeah, the villains are made evil, but they're written that way, you know? Like, if Batman existed in a world without crazy supervillains, we would hate him. We don't particularly care for him in the world where they're whatever. Meanwhile, villains are all about ambition, making a change. Even if that change is just, I want to be on top of the current social hierarchy. Okay, you're probably a jerk if you do that. But the point is that being a villain, in our view, is about ambition, drive, going out, doing what you believe in. You know, like a hero wants to save the world, a villain wants to change the world. Get the picture? There's also the TV trope thing of villains act, heroes react, you know? Because villains go out and try to get things done, and heroes just try to stop the villains before they make a mess of things. Or, clean up a mess in the best case scenario. We get that it's not the popular consensus, but we're hoping one day it will be. Highly unlikely, but, as long as we can get it out there. Let's see here. Ah, okay, here are some two unique choices we made for our villain songs first. One of them is good enough. Like, there's a lot of debate as to whether Anxiety from Inside Out 2 counts as a villain. We say she does. We haven't seen the movie, but aside from just serving the antagonistic role, she does have ambition, and that's where a lot of the anxiety she exudes stems from. You know, a want. And the song perfectly exemplifies that with I want that and I want this. We just want to fit in with a click. We want to be good enough. Oh, we just want to be good enough. We only heard it like the other day, and it's a great song. And it is unironically a mood. We don't want it to be a mood, but there you go. The other one that's going to be way more controversial is Sincerely Me from Dear Heaven Hansen. Like, that's a controversial one. We're sure of it. But come on. Sincerely Me is a song about two guys faking a suicide note so that uh, one of the guys will seem like he was friends with the guy who died. Like, God, that's dark. And he's the main character. He's the main character. Like, that's literally a song in headers, and it's meant to be about a horrible person. Okay. We have some songs in here by the Mitchell Trio, which includes John Denver. But if we said either of their names, we would likely get a, just, we would say we'd get the demonetized, but wait a second, we aren't monetized in the first place. Well, we're not gonna start. We're not gonna start. You can just see it in the playlist for yourself. You'll find it. It's called Villain Songs Variety of Types. Don't confuse it with the other villain song playlist that's on there. That's by Cuddly Fox. So that was an inspiration for the one we made. Uh, there's include a lot of picks that you want to think of. Like, there's not a lot of Disney songs in here. Like, there's a few here, like Friends on the Other Side. It's, but, you know, let's switch this around. Yeah, that way when the Joker's I Go Loony from The Killing Joke goes into I'm a Rambling Germ from Curious George, it's way more whiplash. We have songs that you wouldn't normally consider villain songs, like Pie Mation's I'm a Bug video is one of them. Another good choice that we did in the same vein was um, Robotnik Rockstar, which is from Siva Gunner's King for Another Day, as well as the track it's a remix of uh, Robotnik Rock by I Teach Vader. Yeah, sorry, it's a little bit of a tongue twister. Maybe our tongues just a little big. We also have things like the Joker versus Pennywise on Epic Rap Battles of History, which is really good. Also, Joker won that rap battle. Sorry, not sorry. Uh, the Renato Belrose cover of World Is Mine is a funny one. We have a few we have a few Will Woods songs in here. Uh, we have Sisay singing Let It Go as part of an animatic, which axe murdering people. We have we have Billie Eilish's Bad Guy immediately followed by the Cog is Dead's parody of Bad Guy. We have some Has Been Hotel songs. We have Tom Lauer. They Might Be Giants. I don't know how, but they found me. Scissor, 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 sisters. Is English not our first language? Guess showing the multiverse makes it hard to. Nerdy Poods Must Die. That's another good one. Uh, Say My Name from Beetlejuice. We both reached for the gun, which is about a lawyer trying to make it seem like a murderer is innocent. We think that's plenty. Yeah. Cal Maria's song from the Cuphead show. We have a lot of interesting picks in here. Jesus He Knows Me, both the Genesis and Ghost versions. We didn't want to include too much Ghost. We've only included the one cover because one, they're not a villain in their own narrative, we don't think. And two, if we count them as a villain, the playlist would be full of them, and at that point, just make a ghost playlist of all their songs. We did the same thing with one of our favorite artists, Dr. Steele, who's a musician who he's no longer around, but he was a mad scientist. Gee, we wonder if this Dr. Steele guy had any influence over anyways, yes, on the Spy Kitchen Sneeze, we have a boy band parody starring four video game bosses. That one's really good, actually. Uh, Jaws is here. Here is Jaws. Not something you think of as a villain song because of how light and airy it is, but it is about a shark who eats people. Golly. We have Abe Starbomb's song, I Choose You to Die, which very messed up song. I think it describes two people who do like evil acts, which qualifies for the list. So again, we don't consider villainy to just be evil, but you know, that's the popular consensus. And for a way to deny them of this. So there's sheesh. But it's just now realizing how many songs we've had to have listened to in order to put every single one of them in here. Well, we didn't listen to them all in that 3 day time frame, but we listened to them all at one point or another. Mhm. Oh, we thought of another one that we can add. So we're gonna add we're taking over the hall from the Wind in the Willows musical. We're taking over the hall. Yes, thank you. Secure. We'll save you to the playlist. Why? Why not? It's our playlist, and it is a villain song. It's about a we. It's about weasels, which are naturally ambitious critters, so they already qualify as villains, and we think they want to eat people and boil them in a pot. So yeah, we're pretty sure of that. Oh, we've actually gone on later than we planned by a good chunk. It is honestly so good to be back. We're going to try streaming more often. So we're going to start off with just chatting streams like this and reading off stories and the like, maybe from Lovecraft, definitely from Poe. Uh, yeah, we're excited. We're this makes us happy. Like this unironically just makes us happy, and yeah, we love doing this. God, we're tearing up. Wow. Okay. So yes. Just because we may be good and soft and sensitive doesn't make us any less of a supervillain. And don't you forget it. But for now, we must make our leave. But remember, it is always midnight somewhere. Thank you all for watching our midnight teaching presentation. Thank you and good night. Alright, oh, one last thing. Uh, we rented a laptop from the library, so we technically have dual screens now. Okay, bye! We're taking over the hall. We're taking over the hall right now. Sorry.